That evening, alone in the small hotel room with Caleb, I realize how unpredictable life can be. I felt the same anxiety as my husband. Vincent spent months away in a distant city. I missed him deeply, but it wasn't fair. His absence stemmed from negligence and a lack of interest. That was the real issue. Lonely evenings gnawed at my soul. How could I have known that asking my stepson Caleb to take me to your dad would lead to this mess? In a tiny hotel room with a single bed, the unknown loomed large. Let me share every detail from the start. I assure you, the ending will be just and far more captivating than you can envision. I caught a fleeting glimpse in the mirror that morning as I stepped out. I felt tense, yet I still looked fantastic, even with Vincent leaving me alone. I felt attractive, alive, yet those feelings no longer sufficed. They fell short. As Vincent finished his breakfast, I called out from behind, "I know college starts this summer, but you need to work on your driving. Take me with you." Your dad looked at me with that same mischievous grin. A charming smile, a quirky sense of humor, and a mischievous streak that made him unforgettable. "If Dad buys me a better automobile for summer, then we can talk." Thoughts racing. I just wanted this journey to end, but I was lost in uncertainty. Journey took an unexpected turn after nearly 2 hours on the road. The back seat, distracted by my phone as Caleb belted out a strange song, his laughter punctuating the air with each silly remark. The car let out a terrible hiss and came to a halt. Asked what was happening, fighting to hide my unease. Car broke down. Caleb pulled over, frustration evident. We were stranded in the middle of nowhere, my phone barely had signal, and no one was around. Calling every technician we could find, trying to fix the damn thing. We had to face it. Our only option was to spend the night at the nearest hotel, as Caleb talked at the motel reception. I stood behind the person at the desk, frustration boiling inside me. If Vincent finds out, it will be chaos. I pondered, yet strangely, it felt insignificant in that moment. I felt it in my bones. Tonight would change everything. Before the story takes a twist, subscribe to my channel and activate those alerts. Believe me, you can't afford to miss this. By the end, I hope to see your support in the comments and those likes when we open the door. My hopes shattered. The space was tiny, barely room to turn around. Just a bed, a nightstand, and a flickering light that cast a gloomy shadow over everything. The ceiling felt oppressive, the AC barely worked, and the lone window overlooked the parking lot. "This is it," I grumbled, and Caleb stepped in behind me, laughing. "What did you think would happen? A luxurious 5-star hotel. We're here for just one night." My relaxed stepmom, his mocking tone, and that cheeky grin only fueled my frustration. Yet, I couldn't deny that Caleb's carefree attitude stirred something within me, a thrilling exhilaration I never acknowledged. "Text, this heat is unbearable," I whispered, rubbing my neck. "I need a shower now, or I might faint." "Text, absolutely," Caleb replied casually, collapsing onto the bed and lying flat on his back. "This is your space, Isabel. Make it yours. Feel at home." I stared at him briefly. His lean, toned body and youthful features created a strange allure. I quickly tried to push the thought away. He was Vincent's son, my stepson. I stormed into the bathroom and slammed the door shut. I stared at my reflection in the mirror. My hair clung to me, my skin scorched by the heat. Still, I searched. That spark ignited as I turned on the shower. Water, hoping it would cleanse the chaos within me. Ready for college. We're trapped in this small motel room for days. The situation stirs something deep within me, troubling yet strangely exciting. Thoughts. I wanted to surprise you, be with you. Now, I'm trapped in this hotel room with your son, and I'm lost in my feelings. Steam enveloped the small bathroom, warmth soothing my body while my mind raced. Caleb's grin, his effortless charm, ignited something unexpected within me. Under the stream of water, I felt a spark. Something was changing within me. I chose to walk downstairs for supper, hoping to clear my mind. I slipped into a light outfit, perfect for the heat, easing the strange tightness within me. The hotel restaurant felt modest yet welcoming. just right for the moment. This small order, a light lunch and a glass of wine, was meant to ease my discomfort. The sun set, streetlights twinkled softly outside the motel. My mind kept drifting to the room upstairs. What was Caleb doing? Someone so restless and full of energy couldn't possibly be enjoying his confinement. Yet his casual, carefree demeanor drove me to madness, especially when my wine ran out. I took one last look at my dish and climbed the stairs, each step purposeful. As I neared the room, a profound calm enveloped me. I opened the door, and the sight that met my eyes took my breath away. Caleb had taken a shower and was resting on the bed in just a robe utterly knocked out. His half-open robe displayed most of his slender, athletic figure. His moist hair fell over his forehead, and there was a small grin on his lips like he was dreaming. My heart started pumping. It was the last thing I anticipated to walk into. For a second, I hesitated beside the entrance, unsure of what to do inside me. There was this odd combination of feelings. I felt uncomfortable, but I couldn't take my eyes off him. Isabel, what the heck are you doing? That's Vincent's son. I reprimanded myself mentally, but my eyes betrayed me, drawn to the section of his robe that had slid more apart. What I saw roused something warm inside me. The limited size of the room only made matters worse. There wasn't another bed. It was either sleep close to him or spend the remainder of the night in a chair, and in this heat, the concept of a chair seemed inconceivable. I moved inside the room, carefully, Caleb's steady, regular breathing filling the area. I took a long breath, attempting to focus, but the pandemonium inside me made it difficult to think. Clearly, I had to get myself together. Okay, Isabel, I mumbled to myself. It's only one night, nothing more. This doesn't imply anything. I intended to surprise Vincent, and now I'm stuck here. Be sensible. Keep it together. I took a few steps nearer the bed and stared at Caleb, the innocent smile on his face just made of me already convoluted thoughts even more difficult. I sat down on the side of the bed, wondering how I was going to make it through the night. In the middle of the night, a faint sound woke me up. I barely opened my eyes, just enough to search the room. I observed Caleb shifting on the bed. He appeared half sleepy, running his hands through his hair and scratching his head softly. I found myself watching him, but I kept my eyes just slightly open, pretending to still be tired inside. Though I felt everything from tranquilo, anxious. Then I felt it. His eyes were on me. My heart started racing. He was observing me. I attempted to keep up the act, maintaining the drowsy expression on my face and staying still. But inside I was humming with activity. Slowly I proceeded to unhook the belt of his robe. As it loosened, the robe dropped off his shoulders, showing more of his toned, youthful physique. The way his muscles twitched slightly with his moves brought up a color feeling through me. I couldn't stop myself in that instant. I recognized two things. I had no control over what was occurring, and part of me didn't even want to stop it. Caleb picked out a pair of shorts from the wardrobe while doing so. He kept peering back at me as if trying to figure out whether I was awake. His glances got me even more eager. I was trying hard not to give anything away, but at the same time I allowed the moment to entirely take over me. After putting on his shorts, he didn't come back to bed. Instead, he sat on the chair in the corner of the room and just started observing me. Being observed so carefully was both unnerving and sparked something unexplainable deep inside me. I kept my eyes shut, pretending to sleep, but how long could I truly keep up this act? Finally, I couldn't take it anymore and sat up. When my eyes met Caleb's, I made sure my voice wavered as I said, "You're making me so thrilled, Caleb." I could feel the words hang in the air. At that moment, I realized nothing would ever be the same again. Caleb's eyes fluttered for a second. Then he took a big breath and proceeded to talk. "I don't know, Isabel," he answered, his voice low but steady. You've been residing under the same roof for a time now, ever since my dad's been away, and the more time we spend together, the more I feel for you. You might not know it, but sometimes I can't conceal the adoration I have for you right now. This feels like some kind of dream. His remarks caught me off guard, but they also sparked something inside me. Caleb wasn't looking away. His eyes held mine with a type of honesty and intensity that had me absolutely enthralled. "I need to get up early to get the vehicle fixed," he went on, though his voice sounded like he was trying to convince himself, but his eyes didn't waver, not even a little. "But right now, just can't take my eyes off you, Isabel. I've never felt this way before." My heart was racing in that moment. I stepped to the edge of the bed and sat down on the chair square in front of him, my eyes fixed onto his. The energy between us was so tremendous it didn't need words. We sat there in silence for a bit before I puckered, my lips slightly, and set my eyes on him. Asterisk, asterisk, Caleb asterisk, asterisk. I answered softly, my voice, holding both curiosity and a challenge. Are we talking about the same thing? Caleb's stare intensified, like he wanted to live this moment through feelings. Rather than words, he didn't reply, but the expression in his eyes told it all. And that's when I understood there was no turning back for us, as appeared into his eyes a beer of boldness, and overpowering me welled up inside me the mix of doubt and excitement. In his eyes just pushed me farther. Taking a big breath, I proceeded to speak again, my voice, calm but forceful. Asterisk, asterisk, Caleb, asterisk, asterisk. I murmured, grabbing his complete attention. When I came into the room, you were asleep, your robe was a bit open, and I couldn't take my eyes off you. It got toned more than I thought. We can't run from these sentiments. We both know that. As my remarks hung in the air, I took a step forward and slowly stood up. His gaze followed my every move, his respiration increasing. I couldn't hold back the exhilaration rushing through me. My fingers moved for the ribbon on my dress, and as I carefully undid it, I could hear the shift in his respiration with every motion I made. I guess I murmur, my voice lowering to a whisper. We need to level things out. Asterisk, Caleb, asterisk, asterisk. I carefully unzipped the back of my dress. The cloth fell off my shoulders and went down to the floor. The cool air brushing over my skin just made the burning inside me flare more. The expression in his eyes told it all. Surprise, adoration, and a draw. He couldn't resist the stillness between us. Seemed like a link. Now our breaths mingling into one another without breaking eye contact. I took another step toward him now. I continue in a quiet voice. We'll see whether we're actually talking about the same thing. Caleb's eyes kept fixed on me, his emotions solid and full of fury. Suddenly he rose up, never taking his focus off me, and turned on the room light. The warm illumination filled the room as he stepped over and shut the door. My heart started beating. That moment it felt like the whole world had slowed down, leaving just the two of us. When he took a stride toward me, my breathing accelerated. He looked to be attempting to read my gaze, but at the same time, he was well aware of the wordless pull between us. As he moved closer, his hands grabbed my waist, and the warmth of his touch seemed like an electric current rushing through me. Without uttering a word, he leaned forward, his gaze descending to my lips. I didn't object. I couldn't. Everything about this seemed natural, like it was supposed to happen. When his lips finally reached mine, all the tension inside me melted away. His kiss was gentle and exploratory, yet conveyed an evident intensity. My hands involuntarily sought his shoulders, feeling their strength and warmth encircle me. The distance between us entirely dissolved when our breaths combined. That moment seemed like an eruption of all the unspoken feelings between us. Caleb's freshness and vigor met with the depth of passion I had held over the years. It was the start of something, a beginning both terrible and exciting. That night there was no disguising what we felt for one another anymore. I let myself fall back into Thebes, my body weary but my thoughts racing. My breathing was still unsteady. My foot brushed across the fabric of my garment. Lying on the floor, I felt Caleb's eyes on me, strong and calm intensity, flowing from a stare. A minute later, he stopped down and scooped up the garment, his fingertips delicately brushing over where my foot had been. Even that simple deed shot flames through me. As he held the garment for a second, I could see a flash of hesitation on his face, but it was swiftly replaced by resolve. He tossed the clothing aside, and his hand slid to the edge of the bed slowly. He crawled onto the mattress, his motions meticulous, deliberate. As he moved closer to me, the expression on his face reflected his sentiments, equal parts eagerness and magnetic desire. As I lay on the opposite side of the bed, I sensed Caleb's proximity. My heart continued to race. My breathing intensified. When I watched him bending towards me, I knew that the space between us had nearly totally evaporated. It felt as if everything had reached a breaking point. There was no turning back, and what he felt inside me at that moment was tremendous. It hurt, yet it delighted me. The same time I looked up at the ceiling, and I could see Caleb's face. I was attracted by the way he wiped back his forehead with his hand. I could see in his eyes what Caleb was experiencing. He was crimson. He was thrilled, and he was so joyful. I could see that he was doing everything with such enthusiasm, and I was struck by the way he was out of breath. Caleb had rushed me and my emotions to the point where I was delighted the automobile had broken down. "I'll never forget this hotel," Caleb muttered in his voice. His words pushed out, each one as heavy as a gulp-off breath. His eyes were riveted on me, yet his hands were trembling slightly. His body was rigid, his muscles constricting, each action a bit more meticulous and precise, as if he wished to keep a memory. "I absolutely don't want my father to sell the automobile anymore," he added, and after these statements he'll let himself fall next to me, closed his eyes without uttering a word, and waited for his breathing to recover. I was fatigued, and I didn't even have the strength to voice a word. My legs wouldn't stop convulsing, and I didn't even understand how I had fallen asleep. The next morning, Caleb came with a car mended and informed me we needed to pick up Vincent and travel to the city where he was on the trip. I was overwhelmed with sadness and confused feelings, but at the same time there was excitement inside me as I glanced at Caleb. His gaze, his movements, everything about him was influencing me. Everything was so intricate, yet I still didn't know what would happen. I couldn't distinguish between the questions in my head and the exhilaration. There was just one thing. I knew for sure this travel would be the moment. Everything changed if you've made it this far. I know my tale has excited you. Don't miss out on more. Hit the follow button, switch on alerts, and join us by leaving comment on the story. I can't wait to hear your views.